Soundbytes. Quick clips, long-term learning.
So case one is a woman in her 60s who has history of cancer, unfortunately, and had metastases to her lungs. So she was managed with an indwelling pleural drainage catheter because of recurrent pleural effusions, and came in because she was concerned for catheter complication. She had some leakage around the catheter and was complaining of some shortness of breath as well. So the ED team did a lung ultrasound to evaluate for any problems or etiology of shortness of breath and recurrent pleural effusions. So let's take a look at her lungs here. So they are starting here, looks like the phased array probe on lung setting, and they're starting at the right apex. So Andrew, can you walk through some of the findings you're seeing here and how to interpret this?
Yeah, so one of the big things I immediately look for, and I do not see here, is I don't see any lung sliding. So don't see any lung sliding here. However, I do see B lines going in. Looks like at least one rib space there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see some B lines here, no lung sliding, and I don't really see a significant effusion or anything like that.
Good. So just to orient everybody, when we are looking for the pleural line, it's usually between two rib shadows. We're not seeing them super clearly, but most of the approaches will kind of put the rib shadows on either side of the field, and then the bright white line or hyperechoic line between those two rib spaces is usually the pleural line. So this here is the pleural line. It looks a little bit thickened when you've looked at other ones, and irregular appearance. And one of the things that we look for is that lung sliding. And by that we mean that this pleural line should be moving a little bit side to side or having kind of like a shaky appearance to it. But if we look at it, we don't really see that. But you did notice these B lines. So B lines originate from the pleural line, and they are sometimes called comet tail artifacts because they are bright and shine all the way down to the bottom of the field. And having these B lines is actually a way to exclude pneumothorax, right? Because what commonly people think, no lung sliding is pneumothorax, right? But if you do have B lines, this is one way that you can exclude it even in the presence of no lung sliding. So let's look at a couple more pictures here. You see anything else here?
Yeah, so here I see multiple B lines. I see at least 4 or 5 at a time. I see multiple B lines here, and then this I do see it's like a small pleural effusion or a fluid collection right there.
Yep. So then just anterior to the pleural line, you see this anechoic or hypoechoic area. That's likely effusion. And then deep to that, still no clear lung sliding. We'll see some examples of normal lung sliding here in a minute, but this is no real lung sliding. But these B lines, the teaching point here is that these mean that the parietal and the visceral pleura are attached to each other. What happens in a pneumothorax is that those two layers get separated, and there's no way that you can create B lines when those two layers of the pleura are separated from each other. And then we notice that the pleural line looks pretty thickened, right, and kind of irregular. So what sort of things can cause that?
Yeah, so thinking of anything that can cause like scarring, irritation of the area, things like, for example, this patient has a malignancy, so that can be a cause of the thickening around there. So anything that causes, again, inflammation, scarring, that kind of stuff.
Right, so mass is a big one, and then sometimes pneumonias can cause a kind of thickened, irregular pleural line. Sometimes they call it the shred sign when this pleural line gets thickened like that. So some sort of consolidated lung, whether that's infection or from mass. I think in her situation, she did have a large mass that was around the pleura that was preventing that lung sliding. Because that artifact you get is when a parietal pleura, which is surrounding the chest cavity, and the visceral pleura, which is surrounding the lung, when those are in contact with each other, you get that normal lung sliding. But if those, for some reason, can't slide relative to each other because of things like a mass, or you've had a surgical pleurodesis or something like that, then you lose that normal lung sliding. So let's compare that to this left side here. So how do you interpret this compared to the right side?
Yeah, so this looks like more of normal lung here. So I see what looks like some lung sliding at the top.
So the pleural line here.
So I see the pleural line over there. see a little bit better with the linear probe, but here I see the pleural line. I see, there we go.
Let's
So I
check the
see,
linear,
see at least an A line over there too, and I don't see any significant B lines. I'm not super concerned about consolidation or pulmonary edema. It looks more like normal lung.
Yeah, this looks more normal. This is the pleural line. This is a more classic example of when you see the rib shadows on either side flanking the pleural line. This quivering or Anson log appearance people describe of the pleural line. Probably an A line here, which are those horizontal repeating lines that you can see a little bit better here. And no B lines or anything, but the presence of the lung sliding is reassuring in this side as well. It's just going another one of the right apex, and then the right base we're going to look at as well. So now we have the curvilinear probe, right, at the base, just a little bit superior to where we would typically do a fast exam. It's a little bit hazy in this image, but here is the diaphragm, right? So then
it's like a large pleural effusion's there, or at least the pleural effusion is there.
Right. So this is up towards the head and down the feet. This is the liver, and then this anechoic area you're saying, right? This is pleural effusion. So you have a little bit of consolidated lung here, and this anechoic fluid here that's tracing the border of the diaphragm is a pleural effusion. So she did have a drainage catheter in that area. That was one of the chief complaints, was that it was leaking. So it's possible that it could have been obstructed, or for some reason it's not fully draining. I think one of the main teaching points for this one is that even if there's not lung sliding, that does not always definitively mean that there's a pneumothorax, that you still have to look for other findings, including if you do have B lines, that's helpful. What about, there's also this other concept called the lung pulse sign. You heard of that ever?
I have heard of it, yeah.
So lung pulse is generally when, even if you don't have lung sliding, which we do in this case, sometimes you see transmitted pulses from the heart to the pleural line as well. So that is a way to exclude pneumothorax even if you don't have good lung sliding. So what you'll see is this pleural line will beat with every heartbeat. And that means that the parietal pleura is still physically attached in some way, to other structures of the mediastinum and the heart. And there's not a big pocket of air between those two layers of the pleura.
Soundbytes. Quick clips, long-term learning. This soundbite is a shorter, digestible segment taken from our monthly Soundcheck podcast. For the full episode, check out the podcast on YouTube at youtube.com/MedStar Emergency Physicians or visit mepsono.com.